Your F-150 is lying to you, not maliciously, not because Ford cut corners or buried features deliberately, but because the truck sitting in your driveway right now, the one you've driven thousands of miles, the one you think you know, is doing things you have never seen, running systems you have never touched, and offering capabilities you have never used. And the reason you don't know about them isn't because they're hard to find, it's because nobody told you they existed. Ford's engineering team spent billions of dollars developing features that end up buried 3 menus deep in an instrument cluster, mentioned in passing on page 247 of an owner's manual that most people open once and never touch again, or activated by a button combination that looks accidental, rather than intentional. Features that would genuinely change how you use your truck every single day if you knew they were there. Some of these are software functions that took Ford's engineers years to develop. Some are mechanical capabilities built into components you've been using wrong since you drove off the lot. Some are safety systems that are actively working right now and you've never noticed them. And a few of them, I'll tell you exactly which ones, will make you pull out your keys and go try something on your truck before this video is even finished. 19 functions. 1% of drivers know about them. You're about to join that 1%. This is Vital Ford. Let's get into it. Function #19. The Adaptive Cruise Control Pre-Collision System has a manual sensitivity setting nobody adjusts. If your F-150 has Ford Co-Pilot 360 with pre-collision assist and adaptive cruise control, you already know the basics. The truck maintains following distance automatically. It brakes if something stops ahead of you. The forward collision warning flashes if you're closing on traffic too fast. What you almost certainly don't know is that the sensitivity of the pre-collision warning system is adjustable, and it left the factory set at a middle sensitivity that may not match how you actually drive. Go into your driver assist settings through the Sync touchscreen. Find the pre-collision assist menu. You'll see a sensitivity option: early, normal, and late. Early triggers the warning and braking intervention sooner, at longer following distances. Late triggers it closer and later. Here's why this matters in practice. On a highway where you drive in heavy traffic with tight following distances, the factory normal setting produces warnings that trigger constantly. Warning fatigue that causes drivers to mentally tune out alerts they're getting 20 times a day. That tuning out is dangerous. Dropping to late sensitivity in that environment means warnings trigger only when they genuinely mean something, and you respond to them because you haven't ignored 50 false ones that day. In contrast, rural highway driving at high speeds where the closing rates on slower traffic can be significant, early sensitivity gives you an extra half second of warning that at 75 miles per hour represents an additional 55 feet of stopping distance. 30 seconds in the settings menu. Matched to your actual driving environment. The safety system works the way it should, instead of the way Ford's average driver calibration assumes it should. Function #18. Your tailgate has a built-in damping mechanism you're probably defeating every time. This one requires zero menu navigation. It requires you to stop doing something you've done every time you've lowered your tailgate since you bought the truck. The F-150's tailgate, specifically on models from 2015 onward, has a dual damper system built into the tailgate straps. Those straps are not just weight supports. They contain hydraulic dampening designed to slow the tailgate's descent and allow it to settle into the fully open position gently, under controlled resistance. The correct way to operate the tailgate is to press the release handle, let go, and allow the dampers to control the descent completely. You do not need to grab the tailgate and guide it down. You do not need to slow it yourself. The system was designed to do exactly that without your assistance. What most owners do is grab the tailgate mid-descent and either slow it themselves, stop it at an angle, or lower it faster than the dampers intended. Over thousands of cycles, manually overriding the damper travel wears the straps unevenly and accelerates the deterioration of the dampening mechanism itself. The replacement cost of tailgate straps with integrated dampeners on a late model F-150 is not trivial. Letting the system work as designed, pressing the handle, stepping back, letting the tailgate settle on its own, costs nothing and extends the mechanism's life by years. Press, step back, let it drop. That's it. Function #17. The instrument cluster has a hidden compass calibration that fixes inaccurate readings. If the compass readout in your instrument cluster shows a direction that doesn't match your actual heading, you haven't discovered a defective sensor. You've discovered a compass that hasn't been calibrated to your geographic location's magnetic declination, and there's a built-in calibration procedure almost no owner knows exists. The Earth's magnetic field doesn't run parallel to geographic north everywhere. The difference between magnetic north and true north, called magnetic declination, varies by location and can be significant enough to make an uncalibrated compass consistently wrong by 10 to 20 degrees. Here's the calibration procedure. Find an open area away from large metal structures, overhead power lines, and other vehicles. Go into your instrument cluster settings and find the compass calibration option. On most F-150s, it's under the settings menu accessed through the steering wheel controls. Select calibration mode, then drive slowly in 3 complete circles. The system uses the sensor data from those circles to calculate and correct for local magnetic declination automatically. After the calibration, the compass reads true geographic direction rather than uncorrected magnetic direction. On trucks that have moved between regions bought in the Pacific Northwest, now driven in the Southeast, this calibration difference can be significant enough that the compass was never useful until it was corrected. 3 slow circles in a parking lot. 30 seconds. A compass that's actually accurate. Function #A16. Pro Trailer Backup Assist steers the trailer for you, and almost nobody uses it. This feature has been available on F-150 since 2016. It is, without question, one of the most genuinely useful technologies Ford has ever put in a production truck, and the percentage of owners who use it regularly is remarkably small, not because it doesn't work, but because nobody explained it properly at the dealership. Pro Trailer Backup Assist removes the most counterintuitive part of backing a trailer. Instead of steering the truck in the opposite direction of where you want the trailer to go, the steering reversal that confuses new tower drivers and experienced ones in tight spaces, you turn a dedicated knob on the dash in the direction you want the trailer's rear to move. The truck's steering system handles the counterintuitive part automatically. The system uses the trailer's angle relative to the truck, monitored through sensors and camera input, to calculate and execute the correct steering inputs. You control speed with the brake and throttle. The system controls steering direction. All you do is turn a knob toward where you want the trailer's tail to go. For owners who back trailers into tight spaces, boat ramps with crowds watching, narrow barn doors, precise parking spots that require multiple steering corrections, this system eliminates the most stressful part of the maneuver entirely. Setup requires a trailer profile to be saved in the system, tongue length, trailer type, which takes about 5 minutes the first time. After that, it activates automatically when you connect that specific trailer. It works with fifth wheel and gooseneck configurations on properly equipped trucks. If you tow anything at all, and your F-150 has this feature, use it. It's in your truck right now. It's been in your truck since you bought it. And it works better than you think. Function #15. The lane keeping system can be tuned to intervene earlier or later than factory default. Ford's lane keeping system, available on Copilot 360 equipped F-150s, applies gentle steering correction when it detects the truck drifting toward lane markings without a turn. Signal active. Most owners either leave it in the factory default mode or turn it off entirely, because the default intervention timing doesn't match their driving style. What almost no owner knows is that the intervention timing is adjustable through the driver assist settings menu. The alert-only mode warns you with a steering wheel vibration, but doesn't apply any corrective steering input. Lane keeping aid applies gentle steering correction. Lane centering actively works to keep the truck centered in the lane continuously, rather than just correcting drift. Beyond mode selection, the sensitivity, how close to the lane marking the truck gets before intervention, is adjustable on most model years. Wider sensitivity means more natural lane movement before intervention. Tighter sensitivity produces earlier, more frequent corrections. For highway driving on long trips where fatigue is a genuine concern, lane centering active mode provides a meaningful secondary safety layer. For spirited driving on winding roads where the system's corrections feel intrusive, alert only gives you the warning without the interference. The factory default is a compromise setting calibrated for an average driver in average conditions. You are not an average driver. You drive specific roads at specific times for specific purposes. Spend 3 minutes in the driver assist menu and set the system to work the way you actually need it to. Function #14. Your F-150's battery management system has a preservation mode for long-term storage. This one is for owners who park their F-150 for extended periods, seasonal storage, a second vehicle that sits for months, trucks stored during travel, and it prevents one of the most common return from storage problems in modern vehicles. Modern F-150s have numerous modules that draw small amounts of current even when the truck is off. The sync system, the security module, the TPM's receiver, the keyless entry receiver, the remote start module. Individually, each draw is tiny. Collectively, over weeks of storage, they drain the battery to a point where starting is compromised, or in extended cases, the battery is discharged deeply enough to cause permanent capacity loss. Go into the settings menu through Sync and find Battery Saver or Extended Park Mode depending on your model year. Activating this mode reduces the parasitic draw from non-essential modules during storage periods, significantly extending how long the battery maintains adequate charge without the truck running. On trucks equipped with this feature, the difference in battery state after 30 days of storage with the mode active versus inactive is measurable, typically 15 to 25% higher state of charge with the mode enabled. That difference is what separates a truck that starts normally when you return from one that needs a jump start and a battery that may have taken a permanent capacity hit from the deep discharge. If your truck is sitting for more than 2 weeks, activate this mode. It costs nothing, and it protects a component that costs $200 to $350 to replace. Function #13. The 360-degree camera system has a transparent trailer view almost nobody finds. On F-150s equipped with the available 360-degree camera package and a compatible trailer camera system, there is a view option that almost no owner ever finds: the virtual transparent trailer overlay. When a trailer-mounted camera is connected and the system is properly configured, the display can show a composite view that essentially makes the trailer appear transparent, overlaying the trailer camera's rear view onto the truck's normal rear camera display in a way that shows you what's behind the trailer as if the trailer wasn't there. This is enormously useful for lane changes on the highway when a long trailer completely blocks rearward visibility. Instead of relying solely on mirrors, the display shows the road behind the trailer's rear, traffic approaching from behind, clearance from the trailer's rear bumper, objects in the path of the trailer that the truck's own cameras cannot see. Finding this view requires having the trailer camera properly paired through the trailer camera settings menu in Sync, selecting the correct trailer profile, and then cycling through the available camera views using the camera mode button while in reverse or while the display is active at low speed. Most owners with this package use the standard split screen view and never cycle through to discover the composite overlay exists. It's there. It works. And for anyone who tows long trailers on busy highways, it changes the safety picture of lane changes entirely. Function #12. Remote start can be programmed to run a full climate cycle, not just idle. Most F-150 owners who use remote start understand the basic function. Press the button on the key fob or in forward pass, the engine starts, the cabin begins to warm or cool. Simple. What almost nobody programs is the climate preconditioning behavior that happens during the remote start cycle, and the difference between default remote start and a properly programmed climate cycle is significant enough to matter every single morning. In your climate control settings, accessible through Sync, you can set the specific climate state the system targets during a remote start event. Target temperature, fan speed, whether the heated or ventilated seats activate automatically, whether the heated steering wheel activates, whether the rear defroster runs. By default, remote start runs whatever climate setting was active when the truck was last shut off. If you turn the fan off before shutting down, remote start runs with the fan off, meaning the cabin temperature barely changes before you get in. If the heated seats were off, they stay off. Program the remote start climate profile intentionally. Set a target temperature. Enable heated seats for winter remote starts. Enable ventilated seats for summer. Set the fan to a speed that actually circulates conditioned air through the cabin rather than the low setting you had it on when you parked. This takes 5 minutes to configure once. After that, every remote start arrives at a cabin that's actually at your preferred conditions, not at whatever state you left the climate system in when you parked in a hurry last night. Function #11. The Hill Start Assist has a timing window you can use deliberately. Every modern F-150 has Hill Start Assist, the system that holds brake pressure for a brief window after you release the brake pedal on an incline, preventing rollback while your foot moves from brake to accelerator. Most owners experience this as an automatic function they've never consciously thought about. The truck holds, they apply throttle, the hold releases, and the truck moves forward. It's seamless enough that many owners don't know it's an active system at all. They just know their truck doesn't roll back on hills the way their old vehicle did. Here's the deliberate use of this system that 1% of owners know. The brake hold window, typically 2 to 3 seconds, can be used as a brief stationary hold on a grade without keeping your foot on the brake. In situations where you need both feet briefly, adjusting something on the seat, reaching for a fallen item, a brief moment of attention elsewhere on an incline, the Hill Start Assist hold gives you that window after releasing the brake before the truck begins to move. More practically, on steep grades where managing throttle application smoothly while transitioning from brake to accelerator is genuinely difficult, especially with a loaded truck or trailer, deliberately using the Hill Start Assist window gives you a clean, unhurried transition. Release the brake. Let the system hold. Apply smooth throttle. The hold releases automatically as torque transfers through the drivetrain. It's a subtle driving technique. But on steep grades with heavy loads, it's the difference between a smooth, controlled departure and the lurch and correct that puts unnecessary shock into the drivetrain every time. Function #10. Sync has a hidden diagnostic mode that reads more data than the warning lights show. This one requires a specific button sequence, and it produces information most owners don't know their sync system is collecting. On most F-150s with Sync 3 and Sync 4, pressing and holding the fast forward and rewind buttons simultaneously on the steering wheel for approximately 10 seconds, the exact sequence varies slightly by model year, so verify yours in the owner's manual. Accesses a diagnostic display that shows system status information beyond what the standard instrument cluster provides. What you find there varies by model year and equipment level, but commonly includes sync module temperature, cellular connectivity signal strength for connected services, individual module communication status, and in some cases USB port power delivery status. On trucks with the FordPass Connect modem, the diagnostic mode can show connectivity status and signal quality in a way the standard menus don't display. For owners troubleshooting intermittent sync issues, random reboots, connectivity drops, occasional unresponsiveness, the diagnostic screen frequently shows the underlying condition causing the symptom. A sync module running at elevated temperature is a known contributor to random reboots on high ambient temperature days. Seeing that data directly tells you whether the issue is thermal, rather than a software fault requiring a dealer visit. This is the diagnostic access Ford's own technicians use as a first step before connecting a dedicated scan tool. It's built into your truck. It's accessible from the driver's seat. And it frequently answers the question, why does my sync keep doing that without a single trip to the dealership? Function #9. The trailer brake controller has a manual override most tow operators never use. If your F-150 has the integrated trailer brake controller, either the factory unit or a properly wired aftermarket unit, you know it applies trailer brakes automatically when you apply. The truck's brakes. That's its primary function, and most operators never go beyond it. The manual override is the function almost nobody uses. And it's one of the most valuable trailer safety tools built into the system. The manual override, typically a slide lever or dedicated button on the brake controller interface, applies the trailer brakes independently of the truck's brake system. No brake pedal input required. Trailer brakes engage, truck brakes do not. The primary use case is trailer sway correction without the instinctive panic response of hard braking. When a trailer begins to sway at highway speed, the correct response is to apply the trailer brakes manually and hold steady throttle. The trailer braking slows the trailer independently, pulling it back into alignment with the truck without the destabilizing effect of simultaneously braking the tow vehicle. Hitting the truck's brake pedal during active trailer sway while panicking is one of the leading causes of sway becoming a jackknife. The secondary use case is verifying trailer brake function before every tow. Pull forward slowly on a flat surface, apply the manual override, confirm you feel the trailer braking resistance through the hitch. If you feel it, the trailer brakes are wired, powered, and functioning. If you don't, you find out in a parking lot rather than at highway speed on a downgrade. Know where that override control is on your specific setup. Practice using it before you need it, because when you need it, you will need it immediately and without thinking. Function #8. Your F-150's heated seats have a memory function tied to driver profiles. This is one of those features that sounds minor until you share a truck with another driver, a spouse, a coworker, anyone who has different preferences, and you reset each other's settings every time either of you drives. On F-150s with available memory seating and driver profiles through the sync system, the heated and ventilated seat settings, along with the heated steering wheel preference, can be saved as part of each driver's profile. When a specific key fob is detected, because each key fob has a unique identifier the truck recognizes, the system automatically loads that driver's seat temperature preferences along with their seat position, mirror positions, and cluster display preferences. Setting this up requires going into the driver profile settings in Sync, creating or editing a profile, and saving the climate preferences, including seat heat level, as part of that profile. The seat heat setting that saves is the level you had active when you saved the profile, so set your preferred seat temperature before going into the save sequence. After configuration, the truck knows which driver is getting in before the door is fully closed, because it detected the specific key fob, and the seat begins heating or cooling to that driver's preference as part of the welcome sequence. By the time you're buckled and ready to drive, the seat is already at your level. 2 drivers, 2 preferences, 0 manual adjustment, every single day. Function #7. The F-150's exhaust note can be actively managed on V8 models. On F-150s equipped with the 5.0-liter Coyote V8 and the available active exhaust system, introduced across several trim levels in recent model years, the exhaust note is not fixed. It is actively variable, controlled by butterfly valves in the exhaust system that open and close to alter the exhaust path and therefore the sound character. Most owners with this system know it exists and know that Sport or Track mode opens the valves for a more aggressive note. What they don't know is the full range of what's controllable. In quiet mode, the valves stay closed, routing exhaust through the full muffler path for significantly reduced cabin and exterior noise. Useful in neighborhoods at early hours, in situations where you don't want to announce your departure, or simply when highway cruising and a quieter cabin. Matters more than exhaust character. In normal mode, the system manages the valves automatically based on throttle input and RPM, staying quiet at light throttle, opening partially under moderate acceleration, opening fully during hard acceleration. In sport mode, the valves open more aggressively at lower RPM thresholds, producing the full Coyote V8 exhaust character across a broader range of throttle inputs. The key detail most owners miss is that these modes can be set independently of the overall drive mode. You don't have to be in sport drive mode to have sport exhaust. You can be in normal drive mode with sport exhaust for the sound character you prefer during a relaxed cruise, or in sport drive mode with quiet exhaust if you want the sharper throttle response without the additional noise. They're separate settings. Use them separately. Function #6. SecureCode keypad entry stores multiple codes for multiple users. Every F-150 with the available SecureCode keypad entry knows about the factory 5-digit code on the sticker in the door jamb. Most owners enter that code when they lock themselves out and otherwise ignore the keypad entirely. The SecureCode system stores multiple personal codes, up to 2 additional codes beyond the factory code on most systems, that can be individually programmed, individually used, and individually deleted without changing any other code in the system. The practical applications go significantly beyond emergency access. A personal code can be programmed to unlock all doors rather than just the driver door that the factory code defaults to. A secondary code can be given to a family member, employee, or service provider with full knowledge that it can be deleted independently when access is no longer needed, without changing your personal code or the factory code. On some model years, the personal code can be configured to unlock the truck and start a remote start sequence simultaneously, bringing the climate system online before the key holder reaches the truck. Programming personal codes requires the factory code as an authentication step found on the sticker inside the driver's door jamb and follows a specific button sequence detailed in the owner's manual. The sequence takes approximately 2 minutes. The access flexibility it creates lasts for the life of the truck. Function #5. The F-150's auto high beams have a sensitivity and speed threshold adjustment. Auto high beams, available on most F-150s with Copilot 360, use a forward-facing camera to detect oncoming headlights and taillights, automatically switching between high and low beams. The basic function is well known. The adjustability is not. Through the headlight settings menu in Sync, the speed threshold at which the auto high beam system activates is adjustable on most model years. The factory default activates the system above approximately 25 miles per hour. That threshold can be raised to a higher speed if you prefer to manage low-speed high beam use manually in suburban environments where you're frequently at 30 to 40 miles per hour near other traffic. The response sensitivity, how quickly the system drops to low beams when oncoming light is detected, is also adjustable in the same menu. Faster response reduces the brief moment of high beam exposure and oncoming driver experiences before the system switches down. Slower response is less reactive to distant lights that pose no actual glare issue. These adjustments take the auto high beam system from a one-size-fits-all factory calibration to a behavior that matches your actual driving environment. Rural highway driving benefits from a lower speed threshold and faster response. Mixed urban-suburban driving benefits from a higher activation speed, so the system isn't constantly switching at speeds where manual management makes more sense. The setting is in the menu. Almost nobody has ever opened it. Function 4. Zone lighting on the F-150 is individually controllable through Forward Pass and the bed switches. On F-150s equipped with the available zone lighting system, multiple LED light zones around the exterior of the truck, most owners use the master switch that activates all zones simultaneously. That's the way it's presented in the truck, and that's the way 99% of owners use it. Each zone is independently controllable. Through Forward Pass or through the specific zone controls in the bed light switch panel on equipped trucks, individual zones can be activated without illuminating the others. The practical applications become obvious immediately once you know this. Working at the rear of the truck in the dark, only activate the rear cargo and hitch zones. Illuminating the passenger side for a roadside stop without activating the driver's side toward traffic. Full perimeter lighting for campsite illumination. Front zone only for lighting the path ahead without activating bed and side lights. The zones on a fully equipped F-150 typically include front, driver's side, passenger side, rear, and bed. 5 independent zones. 5 independent switches or Forward Pass controls. Every combination is available. Most owners use one, all on or all off. Go into the zone lighting controls and spend 2 minutes understanding what each zone covers. The next time you're working in the dark, at a hitch connection, loading the bed, working on the ground near the truck, you'll activate exactly the light you need and nothing you don't. Function #3. The 10R80 transmission has an accessible adaptive learning reset procedure. This one is for every F-150 owner who has ever noticed their transmission shifting differently than it used to, slightly rougher gear transitions, more gear hunting than before, a torque. Converter lockup that feels less smooth than it did at lower mileage, and assume the solution was an expensive dealer visit. The 10R80's transmission control module uses adaptive learning to continuously refine its shift behavior based on the driver's patterns and the transmission's current mechanical characteristics. Over time, this learned data accumulates and can drift, particularly after a battery replacement, a software update, or a period of driving significantly different from the truck's normal use pattern. The reset procedure forces the TCM to clear its accumulated adaptive data and begin a fresh learning cycle from a neutral baseline. Here's the procedure. With the transmission fully at operating temperature, find a light traffic road. A highway on ramp or a long straight road with minimal stops is ideal. Drive at consistent moderate throttle through all gear ranges, from a slow rolling start to highway speed, allowing the transmission to shift through all 10 gears naturally without aggressive throttle or sudden stops. Maintain highway speed steadily for at least 10 minutes. Then decelerate gradually through all downshifts back to a stop. Repeat this gentle progressive drive cycle 2 to 3 times. What you're doing is providing the TCM with a clean, consistent data set across its full operating range from which to rebuild its adaptive parameters. Most owners report a noticeable improvement in shift smoothness within 1 to 2 complete drive cycles after this procedure. This costs nothing, takes 20 minutes, and resolves a significant percentage of the shift quality complaints that owners bring to dealerships for diagnosis. Complaints that get resolved there with a software reflash or an adaptive reset that the dealer charges diagnostic time to perform. You can do the driving half of this yourself in your own truck for free right now. Function #2. Your F-150's ambient lighting system has a color spectrum nobody explores. On F-150s equipped with the available ambient interior lighting, the LED lighting along the door panels and dashboard that most owners set once and forget, there is a full color spectrum. Available through the sync interface that goes far beyond the 6 or 8 preset colors shown in the basic lighting menu. In the interior lighting settings, beyond the preset color chips, most model years offer a custom color wheel, a full RGB spectrum where you can select any specific color the LED system can produce rather than choosing from Ford's curated presets. The color wheel is buried past the initial lighting menu, requiring an additional tap or swipe that most owners never discover because the preset colors look sufficient from the first screen. Beyond color selection, the brightness of the ambient lighting is independently adjustable from the dashboard illumination brightness, meaning you can have full brightness instrument cluster display with subdued ambient lighting, or vice versa. The factory default links them together, and most owners never separate them. For night driving, dialing the ambient lighting to a deep red or amber, colors that have the least impact on night-adapted vision, and separating it from the cluster brightness creates a cabin lighting environment that genuinely improves visibility outside the truck on dark roads. This is the same principle military and aviation night operations have used for decades. Red cabin lighting preserves night vision. The white and blue ambience most owners prefer in daylight actively degrade night vision on dark rural roads. Custom color, independent brightness. 2 settings, 30 seconds, a meaningfully better night driving environment. Function #1. The hidden VIN-based feature check that unlocks what your specific truck can actually do. This is the function that sits above all others on this list. Not because it does something specific that your truck is missing, because it tells you exactly, precisely, without guesswork, every capability your specific F-150 has that you may not know about. Ford's owner website at owner.ford.com, paired with the Ford Pass app, allows you to enter your VIN and pull up the complete factory-recorded feature list for your specific vehicle. Not the trim level standard feature list, not the brochure for your model year, your truck, your VIN. Every factory option that was installed on your specific unit before it left the assembly line. Why does this matter? Because F-150 option packages are complex. Window stickers get lost. Dealers mark options incorrectly on used vehicle listings. Trucks get bought and sold with the new owner having no complete picture of what the truck actually has. And features that require software activation, like certain camera modes, certain driver assist functions, certain audio and connectivity features, often sit completely dormant on trucks where the owner doesn't know the hardware is there and has never tried to activate the feature. There are F-150s on the road right now with Pro Trailer Backup Assist hardware installed that has never been set up. Trucks with zone lighting switches that were never explained at delivery. Trucks with active exhaust systems whose owners have driven exclusively in normal mode for 3 years because nobody demonstrated the other modes exist. Trucks with FordPass Connect modems that have never been paired to a phone because the dealer walkthrough was rushed and the app was never mentioned. Pull your VIN, read the complete feature list, compare it to what you're actually using. The gap between those two things, between what your truck can do and what you've been using it for, is exactly the size of everything on this list that applies to your specific truck. Do it today, not eventually, today. Because you may have been driving past features that would change your daily experience with this truck since the morning you drove it off the lot. Outro. 90 teen functions, 1% of drivers. Now you're in that 1%. But here's the thing about knowledge like this. It doesn't do anything sitting in a video you watched once. The F-150 owners who actually benefit from what you just learned are the ones who do one thing differently this week. One setting adjusted, one feature configured, one capability actually used for the first time. Pick the one on this list that surprised you most. Go out to the truck today and find it. Spend 5 minutes, because that one function, whatever it is for your specific truck, is something Ford's engineers spent real time and real money building into the vehicle you already own. It's already paid for. It's already installed. It's already waiting. Hit subscribe, because this is exactly the kind of content we make. The capabilities that are already in your truck that the dealer walkthrough never covered, and the owner's manual buried deep enough that nobody finds them. Drop a comment below with which function genuinely surprised you most, because the answer from this list is different for every owner and we read every single one. And share this with every F-150 owner you know, because somewhere in this list of 19, there's something in their specific truck they've been driving past every single day. See you in the next one.